Thanks everybody for being here. I'm Addison Snell with Intersect 360 Research. We're industry analysts who've been covering HPC in this space for 18 years now. And we've had modeling and simulation for that long and longer. And Wolfgang came to me and talked about this SimOps idea. And the big question against that backdrop would be, why now? Right? Why all of a sudden now do we need SimOps? But it turns out this really lines up very well with the exact research trends that we've been following in the industry building up over the last couple of years. Specifically, from an HPC modeling simulation perspective, we haven't yet reached the end of science. Science is like still there and still needs things like simulation and things that are based on math, right? And then 10 years ago, all of a sudden we had big data and analytics, and I had to start doing big data and analytics. And now we have AI, which is an evolution of a lot of my analytics. And I have to do all of these things in a mixed environment, and nobody tripled my budget during all of that. I have the same or less budget than I had before. And meanwhile, I have a diversification of all the technologies I'm supposed to apply across all of those workloads. Even if I stayed within x86 CPUs, which is already hard enough, I'd have to figure out how many cores and which bin speed and how much memory per core. That's already complicated before I start matching it with GPUs or FPGAs or any other type of coprocessor. What network do I want to run? What storage architecture do I have? So the technology space gets more complicated. The workloads get more complicated. And I'm trying to figure out how to match all this together and optimize my workloads. Well, enter the concept of ops, which we've been doing for other complicated things for a long time. DevOps, we've been doing, people talk about data ops now. And all of a sudden, Wolfgang came and said, we've got this idea called SimOps. What do you think of this from a perspective of how that stacks up? And I said, well, it's pretty good in that it addresses the number one issue that everybody on the user side is dealing with and no one seems to have a solution for. We wrote a white paper. It was pretty straightforward to line it up with that. And we didn't do that research in order to support SimOps. We already had it sitting there. This is what people were saying they really needed. Now, I'll let them talk about SimR and that platform and what they're doing. But from an industry perspective, the reason why now is it's just that complicated. Because yeah, AI and everyone wants to talk about it, and analytics and everyone wants to talk about it, and the simulation need is still there, and people need to do this in an efficient way. And as it's gotten more complicated, the idea of SimOps is actually pretty on point. So I will pass it back off to the next speaker, but thank you very much for having me and allowing me to put this in context. This is a really exciting moment in the industry. Thank you.